My boyfriend is getting too comfortable. Me, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 21 male, have been together for almost 3 years and living together for almost 2. I'm at university and work as a manager, and he has a full-time job working 30 to 40 hours a week. At the start, it was your stereotypical happy and progressive relationship. He'd give me flowers, make me coffee in the mornings. I'd cook his favorite meals if he had a bad day, and we would go on dates. Our friends used us as a template for the perfect relationship since we knew how to communicate, and anything that almost became a fight was resolved within the day. We were both on the exact same wavelength with everything. In the past year, it's become really difficult to have good communication. I've kept doing what we've always done and brought up anything bothering me and how we can resolve it, but he started making empty promises. For example, my university semester started, and I got a promotion at work, so I asked him if we could shuffle the house chores a bit since I was doing way more hours. He said yeah, of course, and gave me the normal hug and kiss, but nothing changed. If I bring it up again, he just brushes it off as yeah, I'll do it later, but he doesn't. I thought he might have been struggling with something that he didn't want to tell me about, so I gave him more leeway and just asked for a little bit of help here and there. So I would make dinner and just ask that he unloads the dishwasher afterward, but he would do the same thing, agree but pretend I hadn't asked. The final straw for me was a couple of days ago. We were getting a bunch of furniture moved to our house, and my parents were helping us at 10 a.m. I told my boyfriend this, and he said that's completely fine, but he's already agreed to go clubbing with our friends. I said that's fine as long as he helps me clear out the living room for the new furniture before he leaves. He says that his friends want to have a house party until 6, and I say we can't be out that late but we can stay out until 3. He says that's fine. I hadn't been on a night out in ages, so they invited me along. I had just got a new dress, and I was really excited to go out. I got my dress and makeup ready and told my boyfriend that we had to start moving furniture now if it was going to be ready in the morning. He said sure, give him a minute to finish a fight in his video game. I started moving things and, to be honest, really struggled with the heavy stuff, so I reminded him to help me move things. He tells me to wait. 2 hours go by with me struggling to lift couches, and he jumps into the room, dressed up and ready to leave. He quickly tells me that he's ordered a taxi and is leaving soon. I ask, what about moving the furniture? He just shrugs. I say that I can't go on a night out without moving this stuff first. He just brushes it off. I remind him to at least be back by 4 a.m. so that he won't be super hungover while helping in the morning. Long story short, I had to stay home and move the furniture so we would have room in the morning. He still went out without me. I was done by about 1 a.m. and woke up at about 7, and he still wasn't home. He answered and told me he was at the house party but he'll be home soon. He got home exactly 10 minutes before my parents arrived. In short, he promised he would be home by 3 but came home at 10 a.m., made me stay home alone to sort the furniture, and when the furniture was finally in the house he refused to help me move any of it again. This happens constantly. If he promises to make dinner, I end up making myself a sandwich at midnight because he didn't do it. If he promises to wash our clothes, he only washes clothes that he is going to wear the next day. He promises to buy me flowers again, but it's been almost a year since he has. I brought this up to him yesterday night, saying that I didn't feel loved, and felt used since I do everything. He again had the conversation saying he knows he's made mistakes, and he'll do anything to help me feel loved. I asked one thing, help me in the morning with chores. He promised. Guess what happened? I, of course, ended up doing all of them myself. I'm getting so fed up with mothering him and forgiving him continuously, and this is the first time in 3 years I've actually thought about leaving. I know that I won't because I really do love him and his family, but nothing I do can get through to him. Update 2 months later, a lot has happened since my last post. I took the words and advice from the comments and gave him an ultimatum. He needed to fix the problems I mentioned in the original post, or I'd leave. I sat him down and explained that he was treating me like his mother, not his partner. I'd set up a bed in my office, and would sleep in a different room until he proved he didn't need me to take care of him at his whim. He was super shocked that I'd hit him with this out of nowhere, ignoring that I'd been asking for help for months. I had to drag one of the spare beds up the stairs and set up the room, all while he sat, refusing to help me. Fine, nothing I'm not used to. I realized once the office was set up how happy it made me to have my own space without needing to fix all of his problems, and he did not take that happiness well. I noticed him getting snarky and aggressive whenever he saw how much I was enjoying my holiday from catering to him, and just overall being weird but still not really doing his own stuff. He'd just leave mugs and plates to get moldy in his room or leave stuff everywhere in the living room. I noticed that he started to nitpick everything I did. It seemed like he was trying to find something, anything, to make me feel bad about, to make his fault seem less bad, I guess. He complained about my friend group on Discord because he didn't like that I had friends that weren't through him, even though I invited him to come on with us, introduced him, and he had a good time. He also complained that I wasn't giving him enough attention or helping enough. Yeah, welcome to my hellhole, pal, but everything he tried to fault me for was quickly shot down. Of course I'm friends with them. They haven't done anything wrong, and I've invited you to join all the time, and of course I'm not helping you. That's the point. Crap hit the fan after only 2 days of me staying in the office. My Discord group decided to get drunk and play Cards Against Humanity. I highly recommend this, by the way, and I told my partner about it. He just said, okay, and so I went upstairs. Once I was already pretty tipsy, I got a message asking me to come downstairs. I told my Discord to pause the game and give me 5 minutes. When I went downstairs, he looked at me with the scariest face and said, "Do you want to tell me anything, huh?" Holding my old phone, in our entire relationship, I have never done anything to be disloyal or anything, so I had no clue what he meant. I asked, still giggling from the drink, "Tell you what?" I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said that he knew, and I should admit it to him now because he had evidence. I still had no clue, so I told him this, still stumbling a bit, and asked to see the evidence. He proceeded to go through my old phone's photos until he reached over 4 years ago, well before we were dating, by the way, and showed me a picture of my assaulter, not a naughty picture or anything, literally a selfie. He showed me this smugly and proceeded to tell me that I cheated on him, with a guy who SA'd me, before we were even together. Ladies and gentlemen, they say it's impossible to fall out of love instantly, but that's been proven false. I gave him one last chance to take it back and asked, "Are you jealous of him?" And he confirmed that yes, he wished he had done it first. In his defense, I genuinely think he worded this badly and didn't mean he wished he had SA'd me, but holy hell, my drunk brain did not like that one. I don't even remember what I properly said, but I broke up with him on the spot. I explained I'm staying in the office until I find a flat, and he is not to talk to me at all. He realized that him trying to guilt me backfired, and he started crying. I just went upstairs, put my headset on, and said, "Guess who's single?" Long story short, my Discord collectively decided to keep me on a video call constantly because they had a bad feeling about me still living in the same house, and God were they right. He left to stay with his mum, who's down the road, but decided to try to kick the door down at midnight. Why? Everyone in the Discord was flirting with me, mostly jokes, and this dude took my old phone and logged into everything to find more stuff to guilt me on. I had to phone my parents to pick me up because he had gotten in and was throwing crap around, accusing me of cheating again. I'm now staying with my parents until I find a flat, and I'm lucky to have my Discord friends because if they hadn't witnessed his freakout on camera, I don't think anyone would have believed me. Love you guys.
My wife told me someone else is her soulmate. My wife, Emily, met her best friend Chuck in high school. They became close friends, and Chuck came out to Emily as gay. Emily was supportive. A year or so later, Chuck came out to his parents. They disowned him and kicked him out, and Chuck ended up living with Emily and her parents for the rest of high school. Emily and I started dating after college, and she told me all about Chuck and how close they were and how he was like a brother. I met Chuck, and we got along and became friends. Chuck is a good guy. At the time, Chuck was dating a guy, and they ended up moving in together about the same time that Emily and I got engaged. Emily and I have been married for 5 years now. I'm a project manager and took on a year-long project in another city. I have to leave at 5:30 a.m. every morning and get home around 6:30 p.m. Emily and I had a long talk about my job before I took on this project. We knew it would be a sacrifice for me to be working so much, but I'm getting more money than I ever thought I would. After this project, we can pay off our student debt and start trying to have a baby. We both agreed the money was worth it since it's only a year. That year will be up in late November. In March, Chuck caught his boyfriend cheating. He was devastated. Emily immediately told him he could move in with us. I was fine with him moving in but not happy that Emily didn't even discuss it with me first. Chuck was pretty broken up, and Emily was giving him lots of love and attention. I was fine with it because I know how much she loves Chuck, and he did need her. I also did my best to support him and make him feel loved. For a while, this was fine, but as time went on, Emily has continued to pour all of her attention into Chuck. Sometimes I get home from work, and neither of them is there, and I found out they went to a movie or out to dinner together. I don't think there is anything romantic or intimate between them, but it has been annoying that I get left out of all the plans. The past few weeks, several things have happened. The three of us went to a party, and someone joked about Chuck being our third wheel, and Emily said, "Chuck is not the third wheel." I said, "What?" And she said, "I've known Chuck longer than I've known you." A week or so after that, Emily and Chuck went out dancing one night. I had to work the next day, so I stayed home. I woke up at about 3 a.m., and Emily was not in bed. I went and found her and Chuck cuddled up on the couch asleep with the TV on. Both of those things made me uncomfortable. I also realized I had been working so much I was just sort of letting Emily and Chuck plan everything, and I had not planned a date night in a while. I decided I needed to be more active, so I planned a date night for last Friday. When I first told Emily, she was excited, as we had not been on a date just the two of us in a while. Friday, I got home at 6:30, and Emily and Chuck were not there. I took a shower and got ready. About 7:15, I finally called Emily, as we had reservations at 8. She answered, and when I asked where she was, she said she and Chuck had gone shopping and were getting some dinner. I was kind of stunned and asked about our date. She laughed and said, "Oh, I forgot." Oh well. And that was that. She didn't even invite me to join them. So, a point I should make here, my dad was very controlling of my mom and had an anger problem where he would yell and throw things. He never threw things at us, but it was still scary as a kid. I have worked very hard to not be like him. I've tried to never be controlling of Emily or tell her what to do. I also tend to shut down when I get angry. When Emily forgot our date, I was mad, so I didn't say anything right then, but I knew I needed to address how I was feeling. So later that evening, I told her we needed to talk. I had written down some things so I could stay focused. I started by saying that I loved Chuck, and he was always welcome in our home, but that I felt like our marriage was suffering and we needed to work on us. Emily blew up. She thought I was attacking Chuck, I guess I didn't word things well, and she started defending him and attacking me. We have never had a big fight before, we always talk and work things out. I was stunned that she was attacking me. She said some awful things. Then she said, "Chuck is my soulmate, and you just have to get used to that." I just shut down. I didn't even know how to process that. I love Emily more than anything in the world, but in that moment, I realized she loves Chuck more than she loves me. I thought Emily and I were soulmates, but to hear her say she considers someone else her soulmate has been devastating. I don't remember the rest of the talk. She huffed off after a while and slept on the couch. She and Chuck left together on Saturday and were gone most of the day. When they got back, she acted like nothing had happened. On Sunday, she even made a small joke and batted her eyes at me, something she does when she's flirting with me. Normally I love it, but this time it just made me sick. I told her this was a busy week at work, and I was just going to stay at a hotel near the job site, something I've done a few times before, so I haven't seen her since Sunday night. I don't know what to do. Typing all of this up has made me realize I am really burned out with all of this travel. Maybe I checked out too much and haven't given her enough attention. But how do I move forward knowing she will never love me as much as I love her? Update: my wife told me someone else is her soulmate. I made my first post on Thursday. When I took the time to think about it all and type it all out, I realized how burned out I have been with this work project. Friday morning I met with my team and scheduled some time off coming up soon. I'm in a much better headspace just knowing I have that downtime soon. Emily and I had our fight on a Friday night, then I left on Monday and stayed out of town all week for my project. During that time we did text back and forth every day and we talked on the phone a few times. It was awkward because we both knew we needed to have a big talk, but over the phone was not the time or place. Emily texted me this Friday and said Chuck was gone for the weekend so we could spend time just the two of us and that she wanted to make up for our missed date. I got home Friday evening and we agreed to talk before doing anything else. I had written out everything I wanted to say and she sat and listened. We talked for a long time and we each went back to some things to get clarification, so I'm not going to try and replay everything we said, just the main parts in the way that makes the most sense. I told her how I didn't like her joke about me being the third wheel, and how much it hurt that she forgot our date, and then how crushed I was that she said Chuck was her soulmate. There were some other little things too. When I was done she said she was sorry and she was wrong for saying those things. She said I am not the third wheel and I am her soulmate, and she asked if she could explain why she did and said what she did. When Chuck's parents first kicked him out in high school he was in a bad place and had considered taking his life. He told Emily's mom and they got him help. So when Chuck called in March about his boyfriend cheating on him, Emily had freaked out and was afraid he was going to hurt himself. She said she felt like she needed him close so she could watch him and keep him safe. I had made a comment about how for the past 6 months it seems like her and Chuck were living their best life together, and she said that she has been miserable this whole time, that she has been on the verge of a nervous breakdown. After our fight she knew she was wrong and realized she needed to get help and let it go. She talked with Chuck and he promised that he was a stronger person than he was in high school and promised that he was not even thinking about hurting himself. They agreed it was best if he moved out, both to give Emily and me time to work on us and so Emily wouldn't be obsessing over when he was coming and going. Emily wanted to talk to me last Sunday but I had said I needed time and she wanted to give me space. It was a long talk with lots of tears. She apologized a bunch of times. She said she was so concerned with Chuck's mental health that she attacked me because she thought I was going to make him move out, and she was lashing out. She acknowledged that she hurt me and said she loves me and she wants to work on herself and find ways to deal with fear and worry in a healthy way. We have never really had a big fight before, and we both agreed we could have handled it better, her by not lashing out, and me by not shutting down. We agreed to start couples counseling to help us learn how to disagree in a more healthy way. We were both emotionally drained after the talk so we just ordered some food and stayed in. We cuddled in bed to watch TV, talk, and just be together. We have missed each other a lot these past few months and it was really nice to just hold her. The next day, Saturday, we took a day date. We went to breakfast, went shopping, saw a movie, and even got pedicures together. My toes look amazing. Several times throughout the day she would just stop and look at me and say she had missed me and she was so sorry she had pushed me away. Today, Sunday, we called Chuck, who was staying with another friend. He said he was sorry he had caused so much stress for Emily and me. He acknowledged he had been focused on himself and not even realized that we were not doing well. He said he loved us both and is so grateful that we let him stay while he was getting over his breakup. He is looking at a few places and plans to be out in the next week or two. He did offer to move out right away, but I am okay with him staying a little longer. I think having a plan in place is the most important thing. Our relationship took a hit but we love each other and we are going to work on it. We set some boundaries and also agreed to always make each other our top priority. I have a few more months left on this project, but we are going to make a point to go on a proper date at least once a week, and reserve some cuddle time on the weekends. Thank you to everyone who replied or sent me a message based on my first post. I got some really good advice. I am hopeful this experience will make us better and make our relationship stronger.
My fiancé has a micropeen. Wow, it's almost a relief just to write that down. In real life, I haven't told a single person, not my family, not my best friend, no one. I really have no one to vent to. Let's set the record straight. My fiancé is an amazing man, kind, compassionate, highly intelligent, and he treats me incredibly well, standing tall and looking dashing. He's fit and undeniably good looking. He's the whole package, and I'm so proud to be with him. I want to spend the rest of my life with this man, and one thing, his big secret, isn't a deal breaker for me. But let's talk about his secret. He's, well, very tiny down there, like the size of my thumb, 3 inches, and very thin. It's the one area in this world he's insecure about, and it was definitely a shock for me at first. However, we do have an active and loving relationship. We make love pretty much every day without fail. With his magical hands and tremendous imagination, he's an enthusiastic lover, making sure I feel satisfied every time. We even spice things up with toys from time to time. It's nice, but I can't help but feel that something's missing. Now, here's the part I really need to get off my chest. He would often ask me if I ever miss having a partner who was bigger. My heart aches every time he asks because I just can't tell him. Absolutely yes, I was always a very passionate person, and I absolutely miss the sensation I used to have. I crave that full feeling that I don't experience now. Sometimes, I wake up feeling such a strong desire for it. It's not enough to make me rethink our relationship. The man I love is the greatest man I've ever met, and his size doesn't change that. I would never cheat. I've never cheated on anyone, and I won't start now, but I can't help it. My mind sometimes wanders, imagining something different, and afterward, I would cry with guilt, feeling so awful. The world seems so unfair. I would read stories about men feeling sad and insecure about being average, and I want to scream at them. Really? You think that's a problem? But, honestly, I'm part of the problem myself. I used to brag to my girlfriends about how well endowed my ex-boyfriend was. It's funny how the world works, how perspectives shift. The world can be cruel. We can be cruel.